And welcome back to day number 27 of 30 days of Adobe Lightroom. Today we're going to talk about ISO and shutter speed. Now this is really exciting because 90% of people, probably 50% of professional photographers get this wrong with ISO, what it is. Okay, most people think it's an acronym for the International Standards Organization. It is not. Let me read it to you. I'll bring this up on the screen. This is on my blog. And this is direct out of their website. Because International Organization for Standardization would have different acronyms in different languages. IOS in English, OIN in French for Organisation Internationale de Normalisation. Our founders decided to give it a short form, ISO. ISO is derived from the Greek isis, meaning equal. Whatever country, whatever language, we are always ISO. So that's pretty cool. That means equal. Okay. That's not an acronym. Okay. So that's the first one. And it's standardization. It's equal. Where this came from is back in film photography days. You used to open up the camera, put your roll of film in, load it up, close the lid, and then take your photos. Now, different films had different sensitivity to light. And you can imagine putting up a bit of perspex or paper, thin paper, thick paper, up to light. Thin lets more light through, thick blocks it out. So, and because there's different brands, Fuji, Kodak, lots of different brands, they're all different. So they needed to have a standardization so that people could rate them and be able to know, okay, I want to take low light photography, I need 1600 film. If I want normal stuff, I'll go 400 film. Okay. So it's a standardization. With cameras, modern cameras, when we moved across to digital photography, all cameras, whether they're a smartphone, SLR, mirrorless, whatever you're using, has a fixed control. It has a fixed amount. So it's like 32 or 50. And when you increase that ISO, you're actually amplifying the signal. Now, what do I mean by signal? Let me read in my blog. As we take a photo, light enters the lens and every pixel measures the intensity of light by counting the number of photons reaching the pixel. Now some cameras have a dual pixel, one for focusing and one for capturing light. The charge of the photons changes the voltage in each pixel. The voltage values are recorded by the camera. The raw data, so DNG, the raw stuff, well, DNG is just a file type, but the raw data in the collection records voltage values from all those pixels. Okay. All right. So, and when we amplify that signal, so we're turning up our ISO, when we're amplifying the signal, we're amplifying that process. So should we call gain? Not increasing sensitivity. We're increasing the gain. All right. Makes sense? Still with me? Hope you're still with me. Alrighty. So that's what that is. So, when you have, your camera might have lowest sensitivity of number 32, but let's just go with 100, okay, just to keep it simple. When you adjust your ISO to 200, you're doubling that gain, and that's where noise comes from, because this is all electronics, and it's similar to operating a radio, and you're switching between radios, and you'll get that white noise. So it's similar kind of concept there. All right, that's ISO. Shutter speed is a little bit different. Shutter speed on old cameras, and even the new Nikon just came out, and that no longer has a physical shutter. But a physical shutter used to be, it would open the curtain, let light come in, hit the sensor, and then you shut it. And leaving it open for a long time lets lots of light in, and look, pool of light, and it brightens everything. But if you open and shut it really fast, there's a little bit of light in, and that's the capture speed as well. So if you're taking a fast photo, you want a fast shutter. A slow, blurred photo, then you'll have it open longer. And it's really exciting. It's really exciting. On the smartphones, it has what we call a rolling shutter. So instead of just capturing the whole scene in one go, it reads those photons just from top left and scrolls down, starts again. And on our Lightroom, depending on what phone you have, this one here is 13 Pro Max. It has physical opening of 1 second. And depending on what phone you're using with Lightroom, that might alter. Now, if I use the native camera, I can get up to 10 seconds. And it's all algorithms. Okay, it's all algorithms, it's processing. There's actually nothing physically opening up and staying open for 10 seconds. Make sense? That's the exciting world that we live in now with smartphone photography, is that the algorithms just give us so much more capability, and we've gone beyond the physical limitations of what's happening inside the hardware. I geek out by it. I think it's really cool. All right, let's have a look. So here we are inside Lightroom. Tap on any of these. So I've just basically reset this. So we're starting from 0 here. Okay, let's go to ISO, and you can adjust it. Okay, let's put it on the lowest, 40. Now you'll see there, when I did that, automatically the shutter speed underneath it, seconds, SEC, came up with a value. Now it's looking at this and going, okay, because you've made that ISO the lowest amount, you want the best quality, you want vivid details, nice color renditions. If I increase that ISO and make it go higher and higher and higher, then that amplification of the gain will introduce that digital noise, that speckled stuff, that real funky looking things in there. So I want to try and keep it as low as possible. And when I do keep it as low as possible, you'll see there that the seconds has gone 1/30th of a second. Now these are fractions of a second. So if you break up, if you have 1 second and you break it up into 30 pieces, all right? Can't do that fast enough. 30 pieces. 1/30th is like, poof, that's it. Okay? Now, that's actually, it sounds really fast, but that is actually really slow. 1/30th of a second. Okay? So if I'm looking at this photo here, ISO, bang, I've made that as low as I can, get the best quality photo I can, and then shutter speed 1/30th. Now, if I was to hand hold this and take the photo, you could end up with some blur in there. In this scenario, you would have it on a tripod, and then you don't have to worry, 1/30th of a second. Okay. Now, if I am outside and I'm starting to struggle, okay, I can increase that a little bit, go up to 100, and you'll see there, when I get up to 1/25th of a second or over 100ths of a second, then everything freezes. It's people walking past, all that sort of thing. You won't have an issue anymore. But I digress. Let's just stick to that for now. Okay, go down there, leave, just reset, put everything back to auto. Okay, so that is the reason why you have that set to the lowest amount. And when we do that, ISO automatically adjusts. Okay, we're going to make that the minimum, 40, and you'll see there the seconds automatically adjusts the shutter speed, gives it a value, measures it, gives it a value, because it's trying to make this nicely balanced, okay, light and dark. Now, if I put something dark in front of the camera, you'll see there it's slowed down the shutter and it's changing the shutter. It's trying to almost get a full second of staying open, because now it wants to try and bring the brightness of this dark object back up to something that's nice and aesthetically pleasing. Okay, move it out of the way. It'll go and readjust everything. Give it a second. It's coming. It's coming. There we go. All right. Put something dark in the background. You'll see there it automatically adjusts. Now, from a practical point of view, you're thinking, why would you want to do that? Well, let's switch this around, and I'll make ISO auto, and then the seconds I'll play around with. Now, if you're chasing bees around the backyard like I do, you want to have a nice fast shutter speed so that you can freeze that action. So for me, the best shot is when I can get them in between flowers flying, and you're going to get their legs just dangling. It looks super cool. You want a fast shutter. So when you do that, you want to increase the shutter speed, and you want to have it nice and fast, like 1/1000th of a second or something like that. And when it does that, you'll see that the ISO, it has adjusted that. And when you're chasing around a bush where you've got a bright area, dark area, bright area, dark area, I don't want to be mucking around with all those numbers. I don't want to be balancing all that. So it does it for me, which is really super cool. Okay, so you can see here this passion fruit flower. Photo on the left is all auto. Photo number 2, I've adjusted so that it's shutter priority, and it's a nice fast shutter speed there. Photo number 3, I manually adjusted everything to achieve the same measurement or the same exposure. So you'll see there, I've adjusted the seconds, the shutter speed, but to adjust one, you need to adjust the other. You know, you might be thinking, fantastic, I want to have the ISO set at 40, nice and low, good quality, shutter speed. Okay, I want to have that about 1/800th. I want it nice and sharp and fast. I'll just do that. But the problem is that you'll end up with a result of an exposure or a brightness that's either too bright or too dark, And to bring it back to something that you can actually see the photo and make it look nice again, that is where you need to go into your controls and adjust one of them to bring it back so that it's either brighter or darker. You have to adjust one of those, either the shutter or the ISO.